flag. Work session. No, it isn't. It's a business meeting.
Business meeting.
Read your minutes.
I spoke to already.
Got 2 seconds left.
Then what's the that?
Then I guess we're gonna start the meeting.
No. This is 8:59.
All right, let's call the meeting to order. Pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Jennifer, please take a roll call.
Tom,
Here.
me,
Here.
Jeff,
Here.
Doug,
Here.
Craig,
Here.
Greg,
Here.
and Cam Johnson.
All right, any member of the public may, because this is actually a business meeting on September 4th, 2024, 9 a.m. Any member of the public may be heard on any subject that is not on the agenda. Comments are limited to 2 minutes. You may only speak once for each item on the agenda. The board will not take action on these items at this time, but may choose to add an item to the next board meeting's agenda for discussion. All meetings are recorded, so please address the monitor and state your name. Spell your last name. Remember what you say is recorded and will be public information. So we got any comments from the public? You're not the public. All right, so we'll move on to the agenda items. You got something?
So we can take a vote today, or we cannot take votes?
We're taking both sides, business meeting.
All right.
And we did that because we have some time important elements that we have to get covered, so. So anyway. You wanna take over for, well, I'll call them back on this. I would like to make a motion that we move number 1 on the agenda to the very bottom of the page.
Second.
Because it's, we got a whale here to eat before we get done, and that would just make it 2 whales. So hopefully with 2 or 3 goldfish, we could get the rest of the meeting over in 2 hours. I'm setting a 2-hour limit on the meeting, so at 11 o'clock, we're walking out of here.
You're bringing time.
So keep your comments short and quick, and we'll get something done. So I'm gonna turn it over to Bo, and he can start with the employee. Oh, let's, we gotta need a vote on that. We had a second. Doug seconded it, so all in favor of moving number 1 to the bottom of the page?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous, so number 1's moved to the bottom. And not that that's not important, it'll come back up if we don't even brush into it today, we'll get into it probably at the next business meeting or the next work session. So, Bo, if you wanna lead in with the employee 401k retirement proposal.
Yes, on page 10, I show upgrade of the comparison study. Do you see that page?
Yep.
It has
Do you wanna take it back, Doug, actually we'll make a point on that.
3 different comparison and current provider is split between 3 different organizations. You have Fisher Investment, Randall Hurley, and a census. And we look at that, those first three columns. That cost the Heights Water $7,000 a year to have administrated, which is about 0.7% of the entire portfolio, which is a little bit over $1 million. Now, in addition to that, you might not realize this, but our employees pay 0.73%, which tabulates to about $7,500. So the total cost to the Heights Water and our employees is $14,500, or about 1.42% of the funds. Now, I'm add here that our employees currently are very happy, they're satisfied, and Fisher seems to be doing a good job. One of the issue with Fisher, of course, is they do have a high fee. On the other hand, their performance, their yield is good as well. Now, last time I presented this data, the board asked me to also compare this with the Montana MP. Yeah, which is a 457B program. And I have extensive questions and discussions with them. And the plan would not cost Heights Water anything, and very, very little to the employees. The last column in the middle of the page, you can see that the first 100,000 is 0.45, which is almost half of what we currently are charging, and then progressively decrease to 0.25, about 400,000. In addition to that, there is a fee that maxes out at $244 per employee per year. Now, if you add all that up, the employees as a group will pay about $5,200. That is 0.5% of the portfolio. So the total savings for the Heights and the employees is $9,300. So there is a big savings.
Okay, I've got a question.
Yeah,
Instead of the investment fee, the first 100,000, that's 0.45%.
yeah,
So would we be moving from Fisher to Montana Piers?
yeah.
So all of a sudden we have over $1 million investments. We charge this rates on, is that what? Because you said we have $1 million. It's
Right.
not the district's stuff, it's the employees.
This
It's $1 million. at
Correct.
Fisher.
But they will be broken down into individual portfolios with the individuals, not the group. I'm doing it here so we can compare it, but for the individual,
Each
less.
cost would be
Yeah.
dependent on how much, but altogether, we know there's over $1 million.
Right. Right now, are the $1 million, I would say less than, about a half is actually under management. Now, what that means is the higher rates applied to unmanaged capital is less money. I'm bringing up a red herring here, but the end result is that it's a win-win for the employees, a win-win for the district. Okay, Bo, what is the problem? Well, the plan that Montana is offering is a plan that is deferred compensation rather than
It's defined benefits, defined contribution.
Correct. And that makes a big difference.
Define, can you say that again, define?
The defined benefit, well, upfront, we will tell you what you will collect at 65, whenever you retire. Now, administratively, that's very burdensome, but the state has a lot of employees, a lot of funds, a lot of people involved. Now, in the private sector and also in public sector, there is a switch from that defined distribution and contribution, where the employee selects the funds they like to invest in. And so that's a big change, I think. Now, I understand that Montana retirement do have a new program where they do offer individualized investment options. And I have not yet total clarity on that. But in interest for,
I can provide some clarity on that.
yeah,
When you become a state employee, which you do when you become a state legislator, for example. You need to make a decision at the beginning of your employment, whether you're gonna participate in terms of the defined contribution plan, which allows you to decide, participate in how to invest it, or the defined benefits plan. But it's a one-time choice. You can't be switched back and forth. And honestly, I think a whole lot more research would need to go into this situation before we, we cannot only just look at what the administration costs. Because that's only part of the cost of the pension plan. It's also the contribution. And the contributions to the state plan are a higher percentage of the employee pay than what we are currently providing them in terms of our retirement plan. So just looking at, you can't just look at the nickel on the ground. You gotta look at the dollars in the trees. So, I think we need a lot of research on that. The other question involved, in my mind, is what would happen with the current assets in their retirement plans? Is it possible to roll those monies into those plans or not?
yes.
So I think we need a whole lot more research before we take this up. Well, they're the two big ones that I can think of, but I'm not willing to act on this today.
They assured me that wouldn't be an issue. And I also asked about if we can maintain our own contributions like we are now. So they're flexible, so they have done some changes. But yet the right answer, there's only like 5-6 people involved with this program, catering to customers. But from the bright side, it's a win-win dollars and cents. But the employees would lose some flexibility. Now, we have an 18-page summary plan description. They have a 28-page summary plan description with no vesting schedule or no loan provision. Speaking from past experience, the loan provision, they have changed those a lot in the last few years. So they permit people to buy their first home, they can dip into this fund and a few other things. There is no such loans under the state's summary plan. And it's a very cumbersome document, and as far as getting answers, very difficult. Really.
Director Erkenbach.
I'm in PDRS.
Yeah.
And the sheriff had a 20-year plan, the PDRS had a 30-year plan. based upon the years.
Yeah.
The actuaries wave their magic pens and figure out what your contribution is.
Yeah.
So if we merged into like PPRS, the actuaries are gonna have to look at where each employee is at time-wise.
Yeah.
In order to figure out the contribution and how much back contribution is gonna have to be done.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the actuaries wave their magic pens and try to figure it out, and then they can. But it's based on, sheriff was 20, but their contribution was higher because they had to
Yeah.
make up more ground quicker, and ours was a 30-year program. So,
Well, I agree with Jeff. I'm not in a position to recommend anything to the board other than I have investigated and I see some issues. Some good,
Sure.
cost wise, it's good, for the employees, they're gonna lose some flexibility.
So my question is, what would be second choice when I go to state? You got that figured out what second choice would be?
Well, personally, I have experience with paycheck and so it'd be handled through a payroll vendor. And what that would mean is that we'll leave Black Mountain, which we have no problem with. But with paycheck, the employees will have everything on their cell phone as far as how many vacation days they have left. The policy manual will be updated. They will assist you to update. So the whole shoot match will be right there, and we can keep Fisher. Because our issue here is that we have 3 people involved in this profit sharing retirement program. And that had created a communication problem. We're only 7 or 8 employees, and to keep everything working correctly has been difficult in the past, as you know. So if we can simplify this and have less people involved in it, and at the same time upgrade what we have. And you know, you go to your cell phone for everything today, even where did you park your car and that sort of thing. How about your retirement plan, investment plan? You can all do it from your cell phone. So I have looked into that as well, and the cost, as you can see, is the savings will not be that great.
Where's this at? What column are you looking at when you're talking?
ADP would be one, yeah. You're talking about 4,400, and I think that it would be less of the switch for our employee, and as far as us, we might gain a few $1,000s, but it's not a revolutionary switch, but it will simplify what we're doing. And our goal here, I think, is to deal with 2 people, the investor and have the advisor and the third party administrator combined.
Who's the third party in this ADP?
There isn't a third.
Yeah, there's $614 charge under third party administrator.
Yeah.
So who is that third party? What is their role?
That is actually a combined service. I call it third party. There is 33 different parties associated with a profit sharing retirement plan. You're combining 2. So they charge $614 for that particular service and the record keeping, which is the heavy thing, yes.
So with this ADP, we're still gonna have this profit sharing contribution? I thought we wanted to end the profit sharing. We're a non-profit. We don't have profit share.
I don't think we call it profit sharing.
Pardon me?
We are not calling this profit, it's retirement. But I'm coming to that later. We do have in the handbook on page 8, profit sharing. We'll discuss that. But this is a employee retirement plan proposal. I don't think we refer it to as profit sharing.
So the employees contribute to we match up to X.
Yeah, that's another issue, you know, that's another issue. But this plan, yeah.
So what's the
Is
feeling of
generous.
the board? Been beating this for a while now. Has anybody got any suggestions?
Now, personally, I think we've got to get updated so that things are handled smoothly and consistently equal for all. Currently, people are not supposed to get a contribution from the district unless they work the last day of the year. That hasn't been followed. Currently, we have a profit sharing where we give 5% and then match 50 cents on the dollar up to 10%.
Going forward, Tom, what are we gonna do today? Are we gonna table this until the next meeting? Are we gonna do something?
We have to do something directly or we're gonna end up without enough time because we're supposed to give the employees 60 days notice. Which means we have to have it by next month's meeting, October's meeting. I hope we can get something where we get this language straightened out so that there's no profit sharing and it's a direct match up to X. And that's my goal, is to get things straightened out so that the language is consistent. I don't care if there's 3 people involved or entities or 10, as long as we can afford it and get consistent application.
Director Esmond?
Well, I would like the general manager to bring us 3 competitive proposals for maintaining the current retirement plan. I think Empira just raises too many transition problems for us even to try to figure out how the rollover questions. I do think that the cost would be higher with Empira because the percentage contributions required under that program are higher than what we're paying now. And that is not shown in this chart, so I'd like to get a minimum of 3 proposals from providers here in Billings that I'm expressing my opinion. Okay, so I can make a motion to see if it would get us a second. I'll make the motion. He brings us 3 competitive proposals for maintaining a retirement system with
Second,
Would you, on those proposals, what do you want them to propose? Direct rollover with what they have right now? Or, because each employee is different. So direct rollover, or do you want what it's actually, because he's got 3 of them here.
That's what I said.
Here's 3 different proposals in front of us. We have the current and the proposal from Stifel and proposal from Edward Jones and then also from Empira.
Well, what I see, most of the literature that I've been reading in terms of what's going on in the 401k world, and that's what we're talking about here, is that most employers are going to an automatic contribution to the plan, and then allowing their employees to increase that amount if they so choose. So, I think that would be the question as an employer, that if I was in Mr. Anderson's position, I would be asking them, what would
if we were starting from scratch, what would you suggest the setup be? And then, bring that to us, just see whether we think that it makes sense in terms of updating. I don't think if we're updating, it doesn't make sense to just continue to do what we have been doing.
Right.
So I'd like to see if they show any creativity.
Can you clarify what you mean about automatic contribution?
It's set up so that when you are employed, it just automatically comes out.
With imperative, they can go either direction with the 457 or with
401k is defined contribution.
right.
Correct.
The employee can go either way.
I don't think our employees cannot go either way. Well, we have a defined contribution, which means we match their contribution.
But we got that 50%.
Correct. But it's not a defined benefit plan. What we guarantee them X number of dollars
No.
per month. And this is the trend in the industry, but somebody asked me to look into the state. And it's a deferred benefit program. And it has a lot of pros and cons, but that's not where the industry is going, including the state of Montana, because they are starting and getting the information has been very different. The private sector, I get it real quick. And what we have right now is working, and our goal have been to try to get rid of a census. I mean, that's how this whole conversation started. There is not a problem with the performance and everything. So can we eliminate a census? The answer is yes, with proposal 2 and 3 on your sheet here. Those are our proposals that we can do and not skip a beat and save some money. And the employees, it will be.
We do have a motion on the floor there.
Right, yeah. So I got a question,
So I'd like to amend my motion. That
okay,
it brings forward 3 proposals, not including one involving a census. So that will require another proposal to be sought. Along with suggestions from each potential provider in terms of proper, restructuring the program to make it effective and in line with new plans being set up today.
okay, is there a second to this new one? Did you get that?
I'm a little lost. I'll second it.
Okay, I got a question on this. Who decides on this? Is it the employees or is it the board? It's their retirement. Do they get to decide on it or do we decide on it? Should we have these people come in and talk to the employees and then get feedback that way to us? Mr. Erpenbach, you were at the county authority. Does that sound like something, or I don't know?
We were required by state law to be a part of the program, so we really didn't have any options.
Okay. That's the same with the city, so
Yeah, it was state law.
Tom,
When Randall Hurley was here, they said the employees had to agree to a change. I don't understand that, but then I haven't had that much exposure to 401s personally. Everything I've seen, when you go to work for a company, they offer you to join it or not. And it's what the company has. You get to decide how much you want to contribute, what percent of your income you get to contribute. And the employer gets to decide how much he's gonna contribute.
And with excuse me. With the present state of it right now, the employee could say, I want to keep my 401 where it is right now. And that's fine. That's fine. It's rolled over. The employee pays all the costs. That's his or her piece. So the employee pays all the costs. The new piece that the board presents to them,
they can either choose to accept it or to stay with their 401 that they have right now, but they have to pay all the fees on that because the board says we're not providing that anymore, we're providing this.
Most of the time, when you have a 401 set up, let's say you're working for Walmart and all of a sudden you're gonna go out and work for Dillard's. They're totally different 401s. You can roll your original 401 into the new,
Right.
or you can keep your original 401.
That's what Doug just
But
said.
chances are that holder is gonna require you to turn that into an IRA. And you can turn it into an IRA with them. But chances of keeping it as a 401 are pretty small. Because it's not being contributed to anymore, so technically it's not a 401. I've seen some people able to keep a 401 without contributions. But I've also seen a lot of people retire and be forced to convert their 401 into an IRA because there's no contribution.
Okay, we're gonna move on. We got a motion on the floor. Basically, it says that, we want both to bring one more independent party to the job and add it to the other two that we already have. And, to get rid of, the first one, Fisher, Randall, Hurley, and Census. So we'll take a vote right now on it. How do we wanna go?
Mr. President, do they have, you requesting vote to have that done before our next meeting?
Can you do that by the next business meeting, Bo, or?
Yeah.
A little more?
Yeah, I have two proposals here and I have others in the hopper.
Okay.
All right, so we'll take a vote. All those in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Good.
Opposed?
Nay.
41, 5-1. Motion passes. All right, Bo, more stuff on your desk.
Yep.
All right, so we'll move on to the next one. And that is resolutions to come before the September board meeting. So we're gonna take them one at a time. The first one is conflict of interest policy. We've seen this, I don't know how many times. We're not gonna beat around the bush and bat it back and forth. Either we're gonna vote it up or down. We all know what it is, so we're gonna take a vote right now on it. All those in favor of,
I think you have to have a motion.
oh,
I'll move the acceptance of the conflict to pass the conflict of interest policy. Second.
now we got a first and a second, seconded by Greg. Any discussion? Jeff?
Yeah, I think before this is posted, it needs to get some spelling correction done in it. So it's drafted to be reviewed, it's not substantive.
And I think I said, you're talking about the last line of the whole thing,
The man and I,
the may and my.
Yeah, that has been changed. And it was another mistake there too.
Manager is spelled incorrect.
Okay.
grammatical changes, so.
Yeah,
All right, any other discussion? All those in favor of motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. Motion passes unanimously. Next one is replacement of service lines and curb stops policy. You got a motion to accept this one?
So, do we have a resolution on this thing?
Nope, it's in your packet. Greg makes a motion to do it. A resolution printed out on it. I think we've. Is there a second?
Second.
Doug seconds. Any discussion? Jeff?
I do have one question. So under this policy, then, it would give the general manager the ability to make a cost benefit analysis decision on whether
whether we replace them or not.
replace or not, how far.
Yep.
So we could potentially save money.
Yep.
So, okay, so it's investing power in the management. Spend money wisely. Is that correct?
Forward.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
Any other discussion?
Is it, this is not a board policy, but a operations policy.
Oh, it's a board policy, because we have a resolution adopted by the board.
So I don't believe the board should be making like. We could approve. Something from this policy, but I don't think we should be making that policy.
I think what we're doing, what the board's doing is they hold the purse strings and they're telling that that's the policy we're following because of the purse strings. You have to make that decision, Mr. Manager, and that's, it's not where we just go in and rip up the street and go, well, we're doing it. You know,
Okay. I can see.
so it's a purse string policy.
It's a board policy.
Yeah.
It sure has.
Just to implement.
Yeah.
In his judgment.
Any other discussion? Got a motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next thing we come to is maintaining and cleaning out valve service boxes. Now, this I think is a work policy.
Yeah.
And so you don't really have to vote on this, I don't think.
Thank you for sharing it with us.
Yeah.
But this is, the one thing that I didn't like about this is you're throwing all valves in. That means your residential valves and everything. You can't do it. That's just too much time. I would say anything over 2-inch line probably needs to be checked because when something goes bad, you got a lot of water flowing. And at least we need to have the GIS location out and so they know at least where to go to find it. But the residential ones, and how do you lubricate a valve? That's the question I got.
Well,
6 feet in the ground, how do you lube it?
well, there's a lot of valves in our booster station.
In your station, right?
There's a lot of valve, but this kind of follows to what the cities do. They try to exercise their main valves once a year. And that process not only allows you to exercise to make sure it works, but also find out where it is. You know, that is properly marked. So all of that is important and it's a nice routine and hopefully we think we hired a new person that have the skill set we're looking for. And that we can expand this daily routine of our people to get into more of the preventive stuff rather than when we have the fire. Yeah, everybody knows the fire, we put the hose to it. But to prevent the fire in the first place, meaning prevent the leak in the first place, prevent the catastrophe. So prevention, 1 ounce of prevention, you know what that is. So hopefully we can do that with more manpower and this policy will serve us well.
All right, so that was just a work deal. Anybody have any discussion on it?
Yes.
May?
I just have a question on responsibility of curb stops. Is that the responsibility of the district to maintain and to do those? Well, I'll tell you what, I just got done spending $5,000 on curb stops. And in other districts, curb stops are the responsibility of the landowners to maintain and to fix them if they go out. So this is new as far as that goes.
Our curb stops here are on public property, so.
Didn't matter. Even in mine, the curb stops were out on the line, but the curb stop going into the property was up to the residential owners to fix those and to maintain them. And so I had to dig them all out and redo all of them. And they said in the Montana state law, curb stops are residential owners, not the districts. So I just wanted to verify what we're doing here is not part of what other counties' water districts are doing.
Yeah, I mean, we have a vested interest in maintaining.
Absolutely you do, because
And
you're late.
also, as you know, we want a clearance about 5 feet around them. And unfortunately, some people fill in their driveways and they hide them in the bushes and things. So that's another reason for this policy is that we want to make sure that they're accessible, they're clear, and we can find them. And we go out there with magnetic, metal finders to find them. So it is an issue.
The question I had on it was because the curb stops were on me as the residential owner of the apartments. The problem was that they shut off all my water to all my residential lines until I fixed the curb stops. The curb stop said, well, that's your responsibility. I said, huh, you're talking an emergency on the line right there and everything else. This doesn't make sense.
Okay.
And they pulled it
Director
off.
Zabala?
So,
It's business district's policy.
but I asked Josh that before about the curb stops and he said no.
Director Zabala?
It's business district's policy and it's in city code that the city is responsible for the curb stops. They're responsible for the line up to and including the curb stop right in city code. And this district has followed the city's example.
Okay, any other discussion on this same one? Okay, we'll just move on. D is the same as number 4. So we're gonna move on to number 4.
What page is it?
And number 4 is GIS
And,
proposal, page 16 through 29.
Yeah,
You're up again, Bo.
yeah. And what we're proposing here, anyway,
You need
the
to
GIS.
stop him from yelling at your staff. You may.
You need to go on around.
I don't let I have never let a customer yell at my staff.
I have a couple of them that just have loud voices.
And sometimes they can't hear, they don't even know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
5 years in business, I fired 4 customers, and that was all for abusing my staff, that's inexcusable.
All right, you're up, Bo.
Oh, okay, now you all know about the GIS project and how important that is to maintain and update our system. And it's in keeping with determining the age of our water mains. And the reason for our recent issue, not with Ecologic, but with Voda, we really couldn't do it because we did not have enough data on our system. So that's crucial. And we are close to having it finished, but it requires some more work. And this task is divided into 3 components, and one being the most important, the main line layers, and then the service line, and then the repair data history. And I would highly recommend that this be finalized so that this district can update its inventory of main pipe and distribution. Yes, Frank, I think we have some questions.
Mr. Zabala,
All right. I'm not into GIS, so this is Greek to me. But I thought we already had identified where our main lines were and all of the valves on the main lines. That hasn't been completed. I thought that's one thing that we had. Where are we on that, and where will this bring us to now? Last meeting, Josh said there's a ton of stuff that can be put in the GIS. There's all kinds of stuff. Where does this bring us to in fulfilling our GIS.
Yeah, this is not as much as where the pipes are and the valves are. But what kind of pipe, what kind of valve?
So this is
Yeah.
more layers that we're
Ex-
adding. So
Correct. Yeah.
how far? Josh said the city had ton stuff. They were like 100%
Yeah, well,
data on GIS. We were skeleton. Can you give me an idea of what percent of data this will bring us to on GIS? Does this bring us 100% of the lines filled out, or is this bring us to 10%? I'm just trying to understand.
well, my understanding is that we have 70 or 80% of the data completed. This is to finish it. This is to complete the GIS of our system. What we could do is I could send you, the board members, what the GIS in the city look like and what it looks like for us when you look at the GIS map.
That's all I was trying to.
Mr. Esper, Dr. Esper.
Well, this obviously needs to be done, so I'm gonna support it. But, you know, I just wanna put this on the record. You know, this is a proposal from an engineering firm that has been taking fees from this district for the last 18 years. And had promised to provide this information in terms of completing a preliminary environmental review back in May. Then it was, they said they got permission to not produce it until October. October is less than 30 days away at this point. And here we come now with a proposal that'll give them an extra 2 months. You know, from my perspective, this engineering firm has a practice of not finishing anything on time, not being complete, and, you know, sending bills that lack specificity so we can determine whether the billing is proper or not, and I'm tired of it. And I think we need to get this done with them so that we can get a preliminary environmental review before we decide what to do with task order 28 implementation. Not, I'm not gonna vote no loudly on that until this is, but I want to proceed with this. But I think at some point, we need to go out with an RFQ for engineering firms in general because of their, you know, frankly, their performance lacks.
Director Carey.
Yes, I'd like to add onto this task order a maximum amount to exceed.
I think that is in the request.
Page 17. Is there a resolution?
Second paragraph.
To be limited, okay, with the timetable of 60 days from start. And the 60 days from start, that should also be a date. That's right. Both in the resolution. Yeah, I believe that.
And I believe that. So the day to start will be today. If we pass this.
I don't think we can do that.
Well, if I call them. They do, they said, they're ready to go because I expressed to them that the importance and the timing of this is very important for our pipeline evaluation project.
Question for Mr. Anderson.
Espen.
Do you, are you gonna be able to get more frequent feedbacks? Because this is the tight time frame, 60 days. I mean, if we just get a monthly feedback, that's not gonna provide much time for them to get caught up if they're failing.
About weekly.
Well, that's what I'm wondering. What
Well,
do you?
we
think you
stop
can
by
arrange
that.
with them?
I'm at their office almost every other week on something. So they know we are very concerned about their billing, what they bill. So, I don't know how the Heights dealt with them before. You sign on a project and wait until it's served on a silver platter, or do you work with them to achieve Because whenever you do a project, there are going to be hiccups, gonna be changes. So when you have those, you can make provisions for them. But waiting for this turkey to fly in order to be cooked and fly, it's not gonna happen, guys. So you have to work with these vendors, you have to work with engineering firms. On the same subject, I had made a policy on hiring consultant that I like to present to you perhaps at the next meeting that I made. Because there's so many policy things we're doing here, it's overwhelming, but I don't find a good policy on how you hire consultants.
So
Do you think you can, follow up then, do you think you can get more frequent feedback from them on their progress?
Absolutely,
Okay, if you can, would you please provide that to us, so we know?
absolutely.
my turn for the floor, Tom, you got enough. So I can't find anything in the resolution that says 2 months. Article 4 in the schedule, it says estimated completion date is 2 months. That's on their contract. It should say, and then it should say their completion date will be November 4th, 2024, if we sign that contract today. It needs to be spelled out. And the other thing, I agree with Jeff, or Director Esman, we need itemized billing from them. If we had not got itemized billing, we would have never known that we were paying $1,000 a month for some engineer to drive from Belfry every month for how many months, we don't even know. We need itemized billing. So before I would vote for this, and before I would sign it, it has to say the exact date that it has to be completed. If you don't give them a completion time, they won't get it done, just like everything else, it's been spreading out and going on forever.
The statement in here, I'm sorry.
What?
I'll yield to the director.
No, it isn't spoken, you know.
We recommend that task order 30 be limited. That's just a recommendation. And that's not a. And the timetable is a recommended timetable. It's not-
We need a specific time, 2 months, okay, we signed it today on September
Page
4th,
17.
November 4th, it has to be done. Because that holding up, I don't know if you're thinking about going back to VOTA then, if we get this done, or if you're just gonna go right tackle logic. But if this doesn't get done, that holds them up, and then they can't get their work done, so.
Yeah, we're coming to ecological, next, and based on what they proposed and what we have, it's okay. They can work with what we have.
Mr. Zabon.
I'm gonna try to make a motion here. Hope we adopt the resolution, adopt the task order 30. But amend the resolution to have a completion date of November 11th. That's a firm date of November 11th, and if they fail, they earn $750 a day until it's complete. Now, obviously, task order 28 has an option for changing the time if both the engineer and the district agrees. That still stands. But I want a firm date of November 11th. That gives them a week from today to start, because you can't drop what you're doing to do something, and that's 60 days.
November 11th is actually Veterans Day. It'll be on the Monday. But so they won't be able to deliver to the office.
Yeah.
So then make it the
The
eighth.
12th or the 8th.
We
That'd
are,
be Friday.
The 12th.
we're open that day.
Most people work that.
The day on.
They have it off, I don't care. They should have it done at least Friday before. This
So
is
that's the
firm
8th.
date when we have, we should, that's it.
Okay.
Or I'll change it to the 12th.
What did you say the doc fee? Per day, how much?
$750 a day,
So how do you justify the $750?
because that's standard. I believe it's been standard for decades. And by God, I think it should go up because inflation for decades.
Kind of like being in jury, you get $12.50 for half a day or 25 for a full day.
I agree.
And no judge ever has to sit on the jury. So,
That's my motion.
that's a motion for a
I'll
second.
second it.
Okay. I would like to make an amendment to that motion. And that is that motion also include itemized billing for that project.
Well, I think we landed that on all, so I'll second that. Just to make sure
If it's not in there, it ain't gonna stick to it.
I'll second your.
We're sticking with November 11th.
I'll make a.
Yeah, just-
November 12th.
Can I make a friendly amendment to my motion?
Then we don't have to vote on it, that's fine with me. Okay.
12th.
Well, November 12th. Where is that?
All right, anything else, any other discussion on this, work order 30?
The motion is authorize signing the contract with the
First, we
With the
got a motion and a
resolution
second,
adjusted
so we
to
got to
provide-
open it up to
Go ahead,
discussion.
amendment.
Oh, he amended his own motion, so we don't have to vote on it.
For the itemized part,
Yeah, Jeff seconded, so it's all.
Yeah, it's all in one motion.
Amendment, motion is all.
Save some ink.
One thing. Save them both.
Any other discussion before we go to a vote?
One question, this came up once before. Does Doug sign this for the board or does
Yes.
Bo sign this?
Doug signs, president signs.
it's all contracts.
That's state law. That got to be countersigned by the secretary.
Any other discussion? Okay, we'll put it up to a vote. All those in favor of the motion, I should repeat the motion. The motion is that they have this project completed, task order 30, the GIS completed by November 12th and delivered to Heights Water. And all work on this motion is on itemized billing. Any other, is that kind of how the motion reads?
and then doc,
And what?
and the doc.
Okay.
Oh, and then if they don't have it by then, it's $7.50 a day. From there on. Everybody understand the motion? All those in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. All right, moving on to the next. 4B, Ecologics proposal 30 to 56. You're up again, Bo?
Yeah, I had it. I did not include in the packet a detailed explanation of my conversation with Ecologic and why we recommend them. Number one, they know AC5 very well. They've done some testing in the area. And the other thing is that it can be done rather fast. And they do not depend on our history of failure and maintenance as Voda. We just do not have an abundance of failure, unfortunately. Well, I mean, fortunately, I should say. But that technology does not lend itself to our application as they rely on so much data points. And if you have few data points, the process is not going to generate on the output more data point than you put in, and the conclusion is going to be questionable, even though it's substantially less expensive than this proposal. So here we are recommending 1.5 miles. And the cost That's not. Old line here, yeah, should be,
Page 42.
yeah.
Yep,
That's where I'm at.
So, there'll be $48,000. And, that is to get the wall thickness of the pipe and the issues, where we have suspected leakage, but not the interpretation of the data, meaning what does this data mean for you today and in the future? So they can calculate based on the age of the pipe, the thickness of the pipe and the condition, what the immediate future is. So the urgency of replacing that AC pipe, is it 5 years, 1 year, or as soon as you can? And that's what that extra service life calculation will do for you at 13,500. So this is what we recommend is really the full shot, the $68,000, which includes 10% contingency fee. Now we have over 100 miles of piping, and we estimate 40 to 50% being AC pipe. So where would you recommend, Bo, that this 1.5 miles be? Well, they have agreed that we can do tests, a city block or 2 city blocks in several different areas, so we can get, because the condition of the soil, traffic pattern, it all has an impact on the aging of the pipe. So if we pick 2-3 places, this 1.5 miles, I think we can get a snapshot. It won't tell us the whole story, but it will give us a real good snapshot on what the situation is. Our pipe is 63 years old. And in my readings, I don't know too many cases, studies above 50. So can the pipe last longer? In the United States, there's a lot of this pipe. And I don't hear disaster stories, but I do read where you have, this is Taylor calling me. I put a call in for him, wanted to know what's going on up there. Anyway, so it gives us a snapshot rather than worry about it, because we have a responsibility to serve our region. And I do not think we're managing our business properly if we do not know the condition of the important main. So on one hand, yeah, let's roll the dice and see when it breaks and learn from it. Or let's be proactive as professional. Water is our business. People depend on us for their water. So doing this test, I think it will tell us a lot. It will tell us a lot. And I have been consulting with other municipalities that have a lot of AC pipe. And they tell me, I've done this test, is that the 6-inch is the problem. We have a lot of 6. Number 2, 12-inch PVC pipe. And we have some issues with 12-inch PVC. So talking to people, listening to people, you can learn something. Somebody just did this or continue to do this in Jackson. And I have a calls in with them. They have also done this successfully. So in this process, we'll share our data, they share their data, and hope that we can all learn a little bit more. The idea of just sitting here like chamber and see how much money we can spend today, it's not the solution. It's talking to people. You can learn things. Learning new things will save us a lot of money in the long run. And I think this is considering our investment of $23 million in this region, spending $68,000, finding out how well we're doing is probably a good investment actually in the future.
Vaughn,
All right, I have a number of questions. First off, do we not have to have task order 30, which we just approved, complete before we can do this? So that we understand the age of our pipe.
It would help them, but they told me, I told them the information we have, there's some technical terms here. And I have plugged in interstate in that conversation already to the book, so I don't propose something we can't do. This time around, yes, we have the data, they can do what they need to do.
Right, and then we're only gonna be looking at AC pipe. How about ductile pipe? The pipe on Main Street that has breaked twice.
No problem, no
Are
problem.
we gonna check some Main
Well-
Street? I think 1.5 miles is limited. I don't wanna get involved today with picking each little block. But I'm hoping we can fix something on Main Street since we've had problems with that ductile pipe
Wow.
on Main Street as well as maybe other spots.
It's a good question, and I asked them that, and failure history is one thing. So what do you think they recommend we start?
I have no clue. That's what I'm interested in.
Public building, hospitals, where people depend on their water. So it's not necessarily the oldest, is where you will really have a problem with the pipe breaking. So I never thought about it that way. I thought obviously the oldest pipe in the back road, well, okay, so you have a beautiful pipe back there. But where people actually work and they depend on your service the most. So health facilities, and so Josh and I will figure out on the map where we have the issue, but obviously Main Street is one of them. And I don't think too much AC pipe is on Main Street.
well, we got it. And that one, if they do that GIS, we're supposed to know all this, so I don't think it would hurt to wait for that GIS study to be done before we get it going. I really don't. Jeff Esman?
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. A question for Mr. Anderson.
Yeah.
The, we've had some information, that and I agree with director's review, and I mean, where we know we've had some major issues, we need to assess those main lines into the district. I think there's a couple of different locations should definitely be on the list, but it also, there's been apparently AC pipe acts differently depending upon what kind of soil it's in contact with, and what I would like, can you get them to, can you
Right.
identify different types of soil so that they can test one where it's in pit run gravel or paint, and one where it's in the clay above the BBW canal, just so
Right.
we can get some comparisons.
I agree, but I would let the professional make that judgment, once the board get involved, we don't know, I don't know, I couldn't recommend it. I know that AC pipe is affected by, if you have a high traffic, vibrations, temperature differences. There are a whole slew of other things that we might not know about sitting here. So they will help us pick up those sites. We will not pull them out of a hat. It's gotta be some professional applying
So you
to
would-
it.
it
So
would
as
be
far as
your-
clay, gravel, we have to let them figure it out,
You'll raise the issue with them.
Oh, absolutely.
That's all I want.
Oh, absolutely.
Get your
Yeah.
assurance.
See, that's where if Boda gets involved in it, they do the whole geological study on what the soils are and
Right.
all kinds of stuff. And when we listened to Ecologic, he didn't really sound, you were at that, weren't you, Tom? It didn't really mention too much about soil compositions, I don't think. Boda really did. But from everything I've studied on that AC pipe, soil conditions have more effect on AC pipe in anything.
Yeah.
And it's the clays and the sandstones and stuff like that tend to soften the pipe.
Yeah.
And so that's, if they know where the soils and the clays are, that's fine, but that's a pretty important part of things.
Here again, talking to our fellow professional in the field, municipality, people I talk to, is very valuable. And when you hire a consultant, telling the consultant what to do and how to do his job, I never go
Yeah.
there. You listen to people, you feel comfortable with it, and you listen. And it's up to him to guarantee his work too. If it comes up with nothing, well, you told me to check it here. We all agreed that's gravel pit, so you're not gonna have an issue perhaps. So, I would consult, obviously, with them on where to do it and how to do it. It's up to them. And also consult with the other municipalities that have done this. So we do not have to make the same mistake.
Directors of Bone.
At page 42, the clears, they're talking 4 months from the time they start until it's done. But I haven't seen a resolution for this. Is there a time frame, a definite time frame that they can be done if we agree to start now?
Well, actually, they can do it much faster, but there is a queuing time of, let's call it a month or something. But it's depending on obviously the season and, but it's not that long. It's not gonna take that long.
You can get it done before December.
I thought that when he was here, he said a week he could have that much tested, but then they gotta do they gotta feed all this numbers and stuff in and do all the reports and.
Right, but we also have to do a little digging. There's excavation involved. So it's a little more than meets the eye.
What kind of excavation?
Well, they have to insert these instruments within the pipe. You know, this is a physical. While Boda was a little different, they put these sound things on the hydrants. This is a little different.
I thought in this reading here, they said they do not dig or disturb anything. And they show that picture, and that's what he told us, they hook up to valve stems or hydrants and go from one to the other, like, on page
Right.
31.
Yeah, they show that, but I think it might be something else involved as well. That I need to get at, because anyway, they have a great YouTube of how they perform the test. So if you want to look at the actual performance on it.
Bone.
On page 42, the first paragraph, right up on top, says the field work is estimated to take 3 days. I understand that the actual field is short, so they're not gonna be here very long, but they have to plan where to go. That's why I look at the bottom of the page
Yeah.
and I see these 4 months. So I haven't seen a resolution. I'll try again. I'll make a motion, we adopt a resolution for our project with a time frame of 6 months for completion. And again, if they're not done in 6 months, we have our $750 per day.
Well, that would be the 1st of March.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
They're asking for 4 months here, so I'm gonna give them an extra 2. I want the crap done. I'm tired of this stuff not getting complete, not getting answered.
That's gonna push back the preliminary engineering review to at least March.
Well, I could go with the 4 months, it's on page 43, which would be the end. So,
Better than March.
So,
but I'd like to give them a little extra time because we've never done this, we've never dealt with them on a water time frame.
If you visited with them, do you think it's gonna take 4 months?
No,
I don't think so either. I bet you they can get this done in 2 months' time.
if you say 6 months, they might take the 6 months.
I
You
know,
tell
that's
them
no
2 months.
problem, but
I got the feeling from them that they can get up and go rather quickly here. So it's not gonna take 4 months.
Have you been dealing with Mike or the gal that signed this agreement?
Both of them, yeah.
Okay, she must be his supervisor.
She's very knowledgeable, so I had,
Is she his supervisor then?
she is the one who came up with the final document and some of the technical question. I think he's more in sales.
He's the field rep.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think he's more in sales. And you know, they own by Mueller, which is the largest valve company in the country and.
So,
But they're Canadian outfit.
yeah, that's where it's developed. So, when he came here and talked to us, everything sounded really good. He gave us a really good visit, brought YouTube stuff and all kinds of stuff. But then afterwards, when we start reading, then Josh comes in and goes, well, hey, so you guys out of the water, but, he can't do it because, when I started on the job here, we put in a bunch of bells and it was all the PVC. And he says PVC, they can't test. So I called him back and I says, so what do you do with this situation?
Yeah.
And he goes, if we know the length of that PVC, then we can still test.
Okay,
So that's something that we might need to check in on, because if you got any amount of PVC in that line, does that totally mess up the whole?
well, when I talked to the primary discussion was around the AC pipe, that's 63 years old.
But see, that's what Josh said, that they went in on this AC pipe
Yeah,
and cut in sections of PVC to put valves in, because they didn't have valves all over, and now they got valves all over. And so he came in and he goes, well, I hate to burst your bubble, but it ain't gonna work because we got all this PVC in there.
yeah.
And so that might be something that you need to question them on a little bit more, because they cannot do PVC.
It's probably where the excavation.
Well, my whole conversation with them has really been around the AC. I mean, reading up about the AC pipe, that's the number one concern I have. Because you can't fix it with AC pipe, you have to fix it with PVC. So that's just the nature of what is being done right now. So our exposure is, you know, perhaps 40% of that 100 miles. And I understand the city have replaced all their AC.
They never had any.
They never.
say never.
That's what they said. At that one meeting we were at with them, we never had any AC pipes, so. Director Esmond,
Is there a motion on the floor?
No. Evaluate.
I'm gonna make a motion. That the board resolved to. Sign this contract with a perceived completion date of. January 1, 2025. But offer a carrot of a $5,000 bonus for completion
prior to.
by December 1st, 2024.
Say 3 months.
Correct.
Also,
You said December 1st.
Yeah,
December 1, yeah.
for early completion,
before, so
yes.
Well, if they do it on December 1st, we'd still give it
We
to
still
them.
give it to them.
Any discussion on the motion that's on the floor?
It's a good one.
Who's it? Second?
I was.
So they can get done on November 30th and they'll still get their 5,000.
Yes.
Correct.
That's still less than 4 months.
Carrot instead of a stick.
Yeah, I'm wondering about just adding that column, that one, and what you have, right, with itemized billing, and then the second screen was 750 days are completed.
Well, they got a set price,
We're not gonna, okay, that's fine.
so I don't think, we just know that we've been taken before, so that's why I put the itemized billing.
I believe that page 42 talks about how we're gonna build this.
It does. It does.
It sure looks good like itemized.
Any more discussion on it? The only thing I got to say is, I would like it if, our manager checks with them on that PVC patches for the valves, to make sure that they can do it. Because that seemed to be a big concern, is obviously when they put all this in to start with, they didn't put that many valves in, and so they went in and dropped a bunch of valves in, and so that could become an issue on their testing, so. Okay, we got the motion on the floor. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carried. Those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. So. Do we need a resolution for that too? Because I don't think there's a resolution on this. So we will get a resolution worked up for that and brought to the meeting. On the 18th of September. That's it, fine with everybody? Anything?
Can't you prepare it in terms of what the motion was passed and?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, and then we just, or,
I don't
it
think
can
it
be
needs to
signed
wait
anytime.
for Doug's signature, so.
well, we don't need the resolution to sign the contract to send to them anyway. The resolution is just for us, it doesn't make any difference. But whenever she can get it worked up, that's fine.
I think you need a board resolution, if you don't want to sign it.
And we passed one here. We
Yeah.
passed one. We just have to
Right.
have the secretary write it up and have the secretary, have the president and the secretary sign it. And then,
Okay,
Seems out everything.
then they can sign the contract.
By law, it's by resolution.
Correct.
This is a regular.
We're trying.
Happens.
all righty, moving on.
Okay.
Adopt, change in task order 28 for resolution.
Well,
Is there a resolution in the packet?
I haven't
I
seen it.
haven't seen those. Well, I don't think we're in a position to pass anything, but we can certainly discuss it.
Until we get a GIS and PER, that's pretty much a moot issue.
That's where I'm at. I'm not gonna spend another dime on 28 until we have a PER. That's where I'm at.
Mr. Zavon?
We have a resolution passed January 4th of this year, which clearly says on pages 5, 6, and 7, all work, the resolution was at the meeting. It was read.
Well, that's fine. I'm gonna read over your shoulder.
On page 5, Jeff reads the resolution for suspension of Northwest transmission. There's a lot of discussion about
Yeah.
how things are.
He's referring to the minutes of the meeting.
And there is a resolution, and it says its number is 1-24 in the minutes. Then over on page 6, Doug amends the motion to say all work to design and construct will be ceased on the Northwest transmission line. And that passed unanimous. The only person of the board who wasn't present then was Pam Ellis. She wasn't part of the board. Everybody else here voted in favor of suspending engineering, design and construction on the Northwest bypass. Nothing can happen until we revoke that resolution that was passed, even though there's no resolution posted. It's in the minutes of the January 2024 meeting that it would stop.
I thought somebody just said if the resolution isn't signed, it doesn't mean nothing. So,
It was passed, it's in the
Let's
minutes.
go to the next page, so Tom, at the top of the next page, it says Jeff makes a motion to approve amended resolution 124. The motion that passed was to amend it, suspending the Northwest transmission main.
Yep.
Frank seconds. Frank, Doug, Jeff, for, Tom, Ming, and Laura against. Motion failed on a tie. So it's still sitting there.
So the motion failed.
on the
The
time,
motion to suspend
Failed.
failed on a tie. Now, if we want to resurrect that at the September board meeting, I guess we can. If that's what you would prefer to do, is to directors review. I think it would be wise for us not to spend any more money until we get the preliminary environmental review, preliminary engineering review of the entire system done, which we're now on track for probably January or February.
I will have the resolution brought to,
I would like the general manager to prepare a resolution to bring to the September meeting to suspend design, spending money on design and construction of task order 28 until such time as the preliminary environmental review for the entire district is completed, and the board has opportunity to review it and then decide what to do with task order 28.
how about change your wording on, spending money on designing that, just not spending any more money on 28. For any reason, why would you spend any money?
28's kind of involved.
28th Northwest bypass, including all the options, which we had 6 or 7 options.
So you
And
have,
we've ruled out all of the options now, except we ruled all of them out, except the
Except
subject connection with the city, which we ruled out at last month's meeting.
Correct.
And voted no.
is there not the soil testing in there also?
That's
That's been done.
Right, it's been done and has it cleared everything? I mean, is that?
Yeah, we're still waiting on the geological report on that. We haven't got that yet.
So that's suspending that.
I think we're better off with just design. Let's finish the studies and just stop the design and construction steps.
I was just questioning the fact that, with the Northwest bypass, we have some grants and studies that we've already paid for. Were we going to lose those?
And I'm paying for them. We're just
Where the grants that are there, will we lose it?
waiting.
And like,
Well, I would point out that they can't get the grants until the PER is done.
That's right.
That's what they told us. They were gonna fast track the PER just on that transmission line, but
will the grant still be available after we are done with all these studies?
Hopefully.
that the general manager is gonna have to bring that to us at the September meeting. He can make some phone calls and see how patient they will be. I think spending their grant money wisely would be in their interest, and they should support us in that.
I was surprised when I first came into this job and we're talking about task order 28, and I asked, our engineering interstate to come up with some charts and show you graphically where we are on the project and all the component, the subcomponents. And as you know, we're 70-80% complete with a lot of it. But the work had stopped and we're waiting for the system DER, and that makes total sense. But at that time, what I found out is that DEQ have reserved the SRF loan for this project. I just got a letter yesterday saying that since you're not proceeding, we are taking other priority projects, but we're still on the hopper. We are still on the hopper. So that's the good news. Should the board, after we have the system, go ahead with this project. Another kind of good news story is that the city is very much interested in that area too. So we do it, the city do it, it really doesn't matter. We need to serve that part of our region. And that's where the growth path is and so forth. So the city or the Heights do it, I don't think it makes much difference. Now, you know where the church is. We have 2 12-inch line going under the street. That just doesn't make any sense. So if we can avoid this, and I brought it up last time I saw Chris at a meeting with the city, that we are evaluating, we're still evaluating the Northwestern transmission line. So if we do this, if the board decides, I like the city to be involved, meaning, hey, we're doing this, this is our service region. And we like to work with you rather than you doing the same thing we are doing. It just does not make sense. So looking fast forward in the future, does this make sense for mankind? Yes. Does it make sense for Yellowstone County? Yes. And our service region. So if we do not decide it as a board right here, it will eventually be decided by somebody. I can assure you of that. Because where the tanks are positioned, it was one component, was phase 1 of this program. So somebody had the foresight, and Ming signed that original order for $600,000 to explore the possibilities. And we are 80-90% there. So DEQ knows what we're doing. And I talked to Andrew, who does our financial calculations about this. And he says, it happens all the time that people delay programs. That's not a problem. And it's part of your cost structure. So in your rate, this is partially already included. So that's the good news. I hope you can handle good news, Tom.
Well,
Yeah,
Go ahead, Tom.
once Grace Point Church decided to put the water system, well, we still in limbo whether the city's gonna put a line beside ours.
That's the next item.
Yeah, that's the next item. We're not there yet.
I don't see it on the agenda.
But
That,
we actually have a motion on the floor that we're discussing.
I'll support the motion because of the indecision. of Grace Point.
Do we get a second on that?
we didn't get a second. I'm going to read the resolution.
No. Well, there's second year motion, did he not?
We did.
Yeah.
And that's why I second it, because we have the indecision with Grace Point Church. If we put in the northwest transmission line, how the heck we can use it? The city will just put a line across to conserve the same area. Because it'll be just the same.
That's my point, what I'm raised to Chris.
That's
that-
why I don't want to spend any more money on it until Grace Point Church system is resolved. If we're gonna sit by and allow Grace Point Church to put a line right beside our line, we'll never use the Northwest bypass other than to maintain pressure in our existing area. And that's just too much money to spend to do that.
Yeah, the point was, when we first even looked at this Northwest, was to get it in as soon as possible. So that we wouldn't fight the city, and the city know we were there. The more we delay, the more problems is like we have with Grace Point Church, that they're gonna contend us on any information that we have and move forward with. So that's why I remember going forward saying, hey, let's do this thing ASAP, we've got the grants, we've got everything there. We keep adding more studies and more things that need to be done when Bo just said, we've got 80-90% of this thing done. So, that's my question, is, you know, it's been on the hopper now, what, 4 years?
Well, it's 14.
For 20, and then it's still at that point, now we're gonna delay it again for another 6
We have a
months.
motion on the.
Yeah, I know, that's,
Task force, to suspend design construction until the PER is completed.
The motion was to ask them to prepare a resolution to bring to the September meeting.
So I think we should vote on it, we'll talk about it in weeks.
okay, that's all we're gonna do.
Vote on it, we're gonna talk about it.
I'm sorry, bring a resolution forward to make this. I think you're
That's
right.
good. Yeah, I agree with that.
We can all do more research between now and then.
Jeff, I'll send you a draft copy of that resolution so that you guys.
You've got some president, a chairman and a vice chairman. I'm just a member.
Okay, all in favor of said motion to,
Bring forth the
bring
rate.
forth whatever
Resolution for
for the next meeting? Please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone against? Motion passes unanimously. I'll turn it back over to Frank.
All right, moving on to number 6, consolidation investigation project. Proposed city of Billings and Town of Water District of Billings Heights memorandum of understanding. And that's on page 65 and 67. So in our last meeting, we had, it was kind of up in the air who was going to get the billing or whatever for this project. And, we kind of discussed having both parties getting billed. And, Morrison apparently didn't think that could happen. And so we just kind of left it up to find out, do some research. And then I got a call back from Travis Harris, who's the point person for the city. And he said that if City of Billings wasn't the billing entity, and then they turn around and bill us, Morrison Merrily would be out of it. And so he suggested we can go out for another RFQ. And I'm going like, no, we ain't going out for another RFQ. Let's just give a memorandum of understanding between us and the city, because every time you go out for an RFQ, you waste another 2 months. So it says, let's keep Morrison Merrily online. Let's just get a memorandum of understanding. And then when this Grace Point Church blew up, then the city told Travis to hold up till we figure out what's going on. And so once it kind of got a little bit figured out, then Travis got back to me with this memorandum of understanding. To me, I'm totally confident with what it says in here, but somebody says we gotta take it to our attorney, and so we took it to the, both sent it to the attorney, and he came back with a whole crap load of stuff.
More paper.
Did you get a copy of that so everybody can see what he came back with? Just his part that he
Yeah.
came back with, I don't know.
Yeah, it was 24, he brought up 24 different questions.
But nobody else has got them, so can we get copies?
Oh, yeah.
Did you send it to the email?
Yeah.
It's on our email.
It should be on the email, but
Oh, that's, you sent it to everybody, Bo?
I think I got it.
I don't know if that memorandum from him.
Yeah, I would get that, what the attorney sent us.
Yeah.
You got that?
Correct.
Okay. The only thing Frank, that I saw was the cooperation. And some of that was, you know, like E on 2E, review and provide feedback of deliverables from the consultant in a timely manner.
Which one are you talking about, the MOU directly or?
The MOU directly,
Okay.
2E.
We can provide feedback to deliverables for consultant in a timely manner.
Yeah, and I think we need a set date or before, you know, we need something,
Like a 24 or 48 hour period. That's cutting it a little close.
That's very close. I think within a 30-day period.
Which provision are you talking about?
Services to be rendered by the Conner Water District Building Sites number 2, right above resources and cooperation.
Or is that something that Bo could just do?
Well, I think we need to do that.
And I don't know what they mean by deliverables.
Well. Can I give my,
Go ahead.
express my opinion as a guy who's hired lots of lawyers? You know, a good agreement is clear. And so from that standpoint, you know, is the MOU fine as is? My first pass was like, yeah, I'm fine, but I'm assuming best case. Everybody works in a cooperative fashion. I think when Mr. Smith reviewed it, he was reviewing it in terms of what, you know, I was hoping for the best. He's looking at it from planning for the worst, which is frankly, from a business standpoint, a prudent way for a lawyer to advise his client.
Right.
So I think in terms of, but most of his suggestions were wordsmithing in nature. I will tell you from conversations I've had with lawyers in this town, some of whom have made lots of money on poorly drafted city agreements in court, and other, you know, other lawyers that have watched this go on, you know, the comment has been that city staff should be focused on, you know, implementation. And their legal staff should be focused on enforcement of their policies, that kind of stuff. But when it comes time to drafting contracts, the city would be better served if they hired outside people to draft the contracts, because there have been repeated contract lawsuits in this town involving poorly drafted city documents. So, you know, I'm okay with letting the wordsmithing occur and protect the district interests. That's what our lawyers should be advising us to do. I think, because I think there've been some suggestions on specific dates and times for the thing to blow up, and I think that is totally out of the question. Because these things, this is a due diligence process, and it takes time, and things come up, and things develop. And sometimes you discover something that requires more study. So saying that this thing is gonna be done by a certain day is impossible. It should not be involved in any changes that are, you know, from that standpoint.
My view of what he did is, why didn't he, if he was just wordsmithing, why didn't he just take that MOU and add to or red line how he thought it should be, instead of whipping out all this crap and then we're supposed to try and figure out where it fits in to what the MOU actually said. So I want to work with the city on it. Stacy Tenney is the city's attorney on it. I think maybe we should ask Smith to come up with his version of an MOU and let Stacy come up with their version of an MOU. Because this MOU was made by Travis Harris, an engineer. So,
Not the lawyers, no.
no, and have the two attorneys work this out and give them a time period of when it needs to be worked out. Because if we don't get this started pretty soon, it's not gonna get started. It's,
Well, and the other thing, but the district's lawyer is new. And he doesn't know our, the chairman is our designated communicator with him. And he can express the board's desire in terms of, when you can, let's visit.
Yeah, when.
Let's visit about the process here before you do this kind of work product again. If you think there are changes needed, work them out. But yeah, I think your suggestion is good, Frank.
Mr. DeBoer.
Well, I have two huge problems with this. It says Travis Harris will communicate directly with this consultant on behalf of both the city and the county water district. Travis Harris is an engineer for the city. All of a sudden, the city has to say, water district has none with the consultant. Should be an independent person, both sides give the information, and the independent person tells the consultant, not one side. The other huge problem is the resolution that this board passed in January of this year, resolution 1-24, says the district shall initiate and request the city of Billings working with the district to perform an exploration of the possibility of consolidation and how its impact could affect the district and the city. The findings of the study shall be submitted to the district and the city in writing. Nowhere does it says, go hire someone and tell us. It says the city and the district are to work together and come up with, it's not hire someone. The city and the district are to work together. And that's why I insisted on the results being writing, because you've got people talking. And you've got to have the results in writing. When you hire someone, the results are in writing. So this whole memorandum is in conflict with the resolution to start this consolidation in the first place. There's no authorization to hire someone to tell you.
Let me do some clarification. Frank and I've been on a meeting, Jeff has been on the meeting. What's actually going on here is the engineering firm says we can only work for one person. So not only the dollars, they're gonna invoice.
Well, the consulting engineering firm, because we don't want to be confused with Travis.
No, not with
So,
Travis,
yeah,
but that's really what's driving, so that the MOU reflects that they're the customer, we are a third party to it, you follow me?
And Mr. Chairman,
go ahead.
and I want to provide some response to Tom's agreement. I think the board's members that have met with the city have been mindful of the January resolution. And, argued for, frankly, a joint signing of a joint contract. The consulting firm that was selected was reluctant to do that for reasons that, I'm assuming they're just worried about changing personnel on this board, for example, and then things not getting paid. So they wanted to make sure they were gonna get paid, is my gut, but we tried to implement the resolution as you intended. This is where we are now. We respect the direction that the board gave the committee, and we'll continue to fight for that, sir.
Well, first off,
Frank, all that, man,
Yeah, I'm on that committee and I just want to point this out, that memorandum of understanding was to take a look at both the city and the county water board to work together to get this done. Now, if you take a look at what's happening now is when you're looking exactly what's happening is we're asking for an entity to take over this water board. When anybody ever takes over a company, they should pay the full fee to take them over. And we, as the ones being taken over with, it's just like if somebody's gonna take me over in a stock option, hey, you guys put up the information, the memorandum, you find out, you hire the people to come up with that information. So as far as that goes, that $100,000 which I never thought we'd be at that amount, I really didn't. for us to pay to figure out if we're gonna be eaten up by another entity does not make sense. And that's why I was on there from the very beginning, was to make sure we had a memorandum of understanding of being the one member that voted against having to be a part of this thing. I continue will to be that way because it's going to get expensive, and at the end, we're gonna spend $100,000, $200,000 and still go to the ratepayer. And there's a chance, more than likely chance that they're not gonna accept it in the beginning.
Well, from my perspective. Mr.
Okay,
Chairman.
go on, Snyder.
Okay.
You had your hand up when you started interrupting me.
I want to point out, I did not make this motion. Jeff, Frank made the motion. I don't remember who seconded it was. I don't know. I was just instrumental in getting the language in there that the findings had to be in writing. Because when people get together and talk, you don't have the results in writing. You've got, he said this, he said that, and you have a serious problem. So I demanded that, and I was adamant that the results had to be in writing. Nowhere was there any discussion on hiring somebody to point out pros and cons. It was each side was to work together and discover these pros and cons. And then I went to report it. So we're past the scope of the resolution for consolidation.
Mr. Eston.
Well, a decision of this magnitude is that it needs to be made on a fact-based approach. And, you know, we don't have the facts. And the purpose of having a consulting engineer is to help us develop what those facts are. And then, city staff and city policy makers, you know, the council, they can look at those facts and, you know, make a decision, and we can too. But we ought to be operating from the same facts. And that it should be from an independent party who has not had a long-term but financially beneficial arrangement with the district. And I think we're in that position to move that forward. I do not assume any certain outcome from this process, but I think it is important for us to recognize that it is a process. It's gonna be step by step. There are gonna be delays. You know, and you cannot push a road when it comes to a complex process. You have to be patient, take your time and do it properly. And I think that starts, you know, it's with a good understanding of what we're doing. Mr. Smith has made his suggestions as far as what those should be. But whatever Doug talks to him about in terms of working on this with the city counterpart attorney, I think needs to not have specific dates in it. Perhaps specific times, but not specific dates, because that's jamming the process, and jamming the process is intended to terminate it early. And you cannot do that to this.
Director Rosenbach.
Two quick comments. One, things like this that I wrote, and I was at the county, I would put a line in there that states the importance of this project and that it needs to be done in a timely manner. Just to state just that, you know, without making any deadlines, but the importance of this project is blah, blah, blah. And that could go in there. And quickly looking at this thing, I think 19 through 23 should be looked at, go in there. And those are some legal issues.
Oh, you're looking at,
Martin's.
19 through 23 are things I would put in some of our legal documents. I haven't read the whole thing, but some of it is like Jeff said, it's just general talk, but 19 through 23 are a little more specific. And I think should be in there.
Well, I'd like to make a motion that we have Doug go and talk to our attorney. And have him work up a memorandum of understanding. That we can present to the city's attorney, Stacy Tenney. And the two can work together and get it done, because if we don't get a memorandum of understanding, it's over. So, I mean, we need to work together, we're partners. Been partners since this thing started 60 years ago. And so. The faster, the sooner you can work together and sit down across the table. I went to that Reagan movie. There's a good example of how working together. He's sitting across the table from Gorbachev. And he gets up and he shakes Gorbachev's hand. There's no politics involved. He's just like, hey, this is the way it is. I mean, I wish all of us can be as smooth as he was. It was pretty good. But I think that's the way it has to be done. You can't go in as an adversary. You gotta go in as two different people working together to try and find out the same solution.
Back to what I first started here on 2E.
Yep.
Review and provide feedback of deliverables from the consultant in a timely manner. What does a timely matter mean? I mean, this is something that's put on the board here. We have to review and provide feedback of deliverables from the consultant in a timely manner. We want to put ourselves under a 30-day limit or a 60-day limit to provide feedback, and it's only feedback.
What are deliverables?
The deliverables are what the consultant brings back to both of these. I mean, the city's not even requiring themselves to review or provide feedback on the deliverables. That's not even in here. It's up to us.
How do you define a happy ending here?
The happy ending would be that we understand where the Heights Water District is and how we serve our people.
So I think that's important.
Regardless
You can't
of-
write a MOU.
Regardless, Doug, of whether we are a part of the city or are.
Or on our own,
Yeah.
yeah.
As long as that's the case, I've always got that inkling that the push of this board has been to always consolidate with the city. And if that's really the case, what you're saying, if you guys really believe that, I'll be on board with you, but I've never felt that. I felt that from the very get-go. When I first started, that we will always, even in the city council, have always wanted to push the water board right into the city. No questions asked.
No,
And so if you believe that,
I believe that
I'll with you.
wholeheartedly. And the reason I believe that is because we can grow then. We know what we can do. We know what we can do. We can do it properly and cost effectively.
so with the, let's say we do. Excuse me, okay, so with $100,000, that effectively would eliminate any questions we may have in the future about the future of this water board, that is what it comes down to.
It should.
Okay, because after that, we come back and say, you know what, this water board deserves to stay independent of the city.
Okay,
Well,
there's
as I
a
just say-
motion on the floor. Is there a second to the motion?
He died a long time ago, not second.
Second.
Okay,
What was the motion?
did you go to Martin Smith and get a MOU worked up that we can take to the city and combine the two MOUs and come up with an MOU for the whole project?
Discussion.
Mr. Esmond,
Well, we obviously have some time to get this document in order because the key element here is completion of preliminary environment or engineering review for the entire district, which we are now on a 60 to 90 day completion, right? Hopefully, you know, and then the fact finding can be done. So we got time to do it. I think this would be money and time well spent.
I have a question on what, if this is put together by Martin and he consults with, Stacy Kenny?
Yep.
Okay, if they can marry it together and it pleases both of them, can I then run it, just dispatch it out to all board members and you guys can say yay or nay, or do we have to bring that to a public meeting?
Well, I think you need to keep the committee involved in the process, since we've got to implement the MOU.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the MOU needs to come back to the board for adoption,
Yes.
because it's a contract.
And the time on the MOU is soon, because Bo's already gave them how many flash drives full of information that they can, once we get that done, Morris and Barely can start doing a lot of legwork. But they don't need to wait for the PER to get some of that legwork done.
And that's why it's,
Got it.
you know, it's just the time. I mean, we can call an emergency meeting again. Which is,
Yeah, we'll have another meeting in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That would.
They should be able
They
to get
should be
that
able
done.
to knock it out
okay,
if they're diligent.
Well, a lot of these things are for clarification,
Right.
and I don't see that the city is gonna really object to. So it's just to clarify, so if it isn't in writing, it didn't happen.
right.
We're meeting with Kurtulski and all them today, and I'm gonna tell them that we gotta get something straightened out on this.
Can you replace the resolution or the motion?
Then Doug goes to
Okay,
Martin
that's-
Smith and gets,
We're not gonna vote on that.
no.
Okay, no, yeah, that's fine.
Just direction.
Okay, we got a motion on the floor. All those in favor of the motion for Doug to take it to Martin Smith and have come up with an MOU that he can take to Stacy Kenny, or Tenny, the attorney for the city, to get worked out and come up with an agreeable MOU together, so. Motion, give you something to do.
Maybe I'll oppose it.
No. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed,
Aye.
one opposing. So, and I said we were gonna be done in 2 hours, and we had just reached 2 hours and 1 minute. So
What about the,
that's gonna wait till next meeting. We're not gonna keep having meetings for 3 hours. That's a bunch of bull.
I agree, we don't need to, but we put that at the bottom.
That's why he put it in writing for you, so you take it home, stick it under your pillow on your bed, and maybe you will absorb some of it that way, and if you can't, then take it out and read it. Be ready for when we come to the meeting on the 18th.
Tom was asking for recognition.
What's that?
Tom was asking for recognition.
Yes,
I think we should seriously look at amending the resolution 00124, authorizing consolidation. Because this motion that was just passed spends money contrary to the wording in the resolution. It ain't in the resolution, it never happened, and the resolution doesn't discuss any MOU or outside consultant. We need an amendment to this resolution authorizing this. That's my opinion. You don't want to do it, that's, we're right. To have opposing resolutions.
Mr. Esmond,
Motion adjourned.
motion accepted, adjourned. I think they got a little bit done. You
We,
need an eraser, did you say?
No,
our revenue